Howdy there. Today our second video is going to be focused on voices. How do we use the voices in the event? How do you access those voices and how do you control them? And how do you layer the voices as well? So we're going to start off with how we use these voices. Let's go over to the event and briefly again, hopefully you've watched the first video that talked about the panel layout and how to access different functions on the panel. So this is going to be a continuation of our tutorial series focused on the Ketron event. So playing voices, voice 1 and voice 2. So if you look at the top right hand corner like we discussed in the previous video, you actually have voice 1 and voice 2 buttons right there. And these are used to enable the voices. So when you press voice 1, you can make your selection on the screen, or you can also touch this section of the screen right here, same thing. And on the left and right, you're going to see the different voices that you can have access to. Now take note again that you also have these buttons over here, which are your voice banks, okay? In other words, your voice groups, your piano, your strings, your organ, your brass. So let's say I want to play a grand piano. I would just hit the piano button over there. And on the side of the screen, I have my first 10 voices of page 1 of the grand piano, all right? And let's see if I can zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. If I touch that right there, that's my grand piano, and you can see the center of the screen has a picture of the actual instrument in question. So now all I have to do is play the piano. If I want to make a selection other than that, I can just hit, for example, the rock and roll piano, and again the center of the screen changes to show you your rock and roll piano. So I was just adding a little style there to kind of spice it up indeed, But this is how it works, yes. So that's how you make your selection on your first voice. Voice 1 box, and you have your presets over there, okay? You can select which of the groups or voice groups that your voice is gonna come from. If it's saxophone, you touch the sax, you make a selection on the screen, and that's it. So let's go back to the top of the panel again. And so we can now see also that we have another voice button over here, voice number 2. So you can actually layer 2 voices as well simultaneously, okay? Again, similar operation as you did for the first voice. If you want to add another additional voice to this, all you got to do is press voice 2, and that turns that voice on, okay? So the fact that this button is on means that the voice is turned on. Now to make a selection, again, you remember I told you before you had these 2 boxes. This is now voice number 2. And so whatever you're doing right now will impact voice number 2. Make a selection. If I want to go, let's say, to the string category, I would go over here, hit strings, and I can make a selection here, disco strings. Okay, so now Now, of course, if I want to have the keyboard performing without a split point so that I don't trigger the style, I just go over here to the left side where it says pianist. And the moment you do that, it becomes a full piano, okay? So now if I pick my voice number 2, okay, it's going to sound like this. That's my second voice. Now remember that we had voice number 1, which in this case is your ensemble. I can still go back and pick something else. If I want to pick, like, say, a flute, I'm going to go into where it says saxophone. and I'm going to turn the wheel, okay? And let's say I'm going to look for a nice soprano, or let's see, I'm going to look for a classical flute sound. And I touch it, and right there, bring that volume up. So these two volume sliders control the voices respectively. This controls voice number 1, and that controls voice number 2. So you can kind of be like a DJ, right? Together. So again, these two sliders control the two voices respectively. These two boxes on the screen tells you what voice you are in and what selection you're making what voice from, respective of the bank selection on here as well. So that's how you layer your two voices for the most part. But we also have a third additional voice, which is your drawbar, right? So I'm going to turn these guys off. I'm going to go to my drawbar. And of course, my drawbar is access to my organ sounds. And if I want to get in there and make a selection, you see right there where it says your drawbar, you just touch that. And now the banks open up and you can make your selection as to which of the default organ sounds you want to listen to. Organ number 1. Far left. So if I switch my camera angle so you can see that on the left here, you have the slow and the fast, and that's your Leslie for your rotor. So if I go that slow, I can turn it off, or I can go to fast. And again, remember, these are all presets. Now, most importantly, also, I have the Drawbar View, which gives me access to my new drawbar sliders right there. So once you're in this screen, these by default control the drawbars, and you can actually see them on the screen as you're moving them back and forth. All of these over here are now for your drawbars, okay? And of course, once you have this set up the way you want, okay, you know, with the different effects, you know, your clicks, your percussion, and whatever you want to set up here, you just simply hit the save button, and you can now save this into one of the presets that you came from, or into a user preset for instant recall as well. And so that is the, you know, very simple, basic selection of voices and how you do that on the event. In our next video, we're going to talk about how to get in a little bit deeper with those voices. How can you customize them, and how can you edit them, and how do you layer them? It gets more and more interesting. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel such that whenever we put up the videos, you get notified instantly as we keep on adding more and more videos on the Ketron event. This is AJ again from Ketron. Ciao, until next time.